Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to Mech Engineer. Oh, I didn't turn my my headset on. There we go. Thank you very much for all of the fantastic comments that I received. Well, not just on the last episode, but in the series in general. Now, I've got one that we're going to be starting off with, and that is from Azura Skies 8955, who confirmed that in their current game they have 15 artillery shells in their in the stockpile. So, at the very least, 10 is not the hard limit. It might still be a soft limit, as I'm not clear yet on whether they have upgraded District 4 here, the one that controls how many artillery shots you generate. But my gut is telling me that this is going to increase the speed that we generate them. I don't think it's daily that we get a new artillery shell. I think it might be every couple of days. And this will increase the frequency, or will increase the amount that we generate. But at the very least, they've got more than 10, so that is not the hard cap. And also, as a complete it doesn't fit anywhere else, but I love it so. Ryan Ricardo pointed out that in regards to the weight, because as you may have heard me being confused by the idea of what weight unit is this? Is it kilos? Is it tons? Because the idea of a rotary cannon being 17 tons by itself just seemed quite curious to me at the very least. But they pointed out that it isn't just the weapon itself. These weapons have to be mech agnostic in a way. So everything for that weapon exists in the weapon. It doesn't exist on the mech. The mech is just the chassis that carries the weapon. So it's not just the weapon that weight is measuring, it's the weapon mount, the magazine or the batteries in the cases of energy weapons, the auto loader, the ammo itself if it has any fittings that are needed to make it operate correctly on different mechs. Again, they have to be mech agnostic. So with all of that taken into consideration, the gubbins that go along with the weapon contribute to the weapon's weight. So at that point, yeah, sure. You know what? All right, I'll go with that. That is why a rotary cannon is 17 tons. It's because it's everything that makes the cannon work over extended periods of time when deployed. That has stopped a brain itch that has been scratching away at me whilst playing this game for pretty much the entirety of this series. So thank you. Thank you very much. Big special thank you to you, because that is going to make this so much easier. And yeah, the very astute amongst you will have noticed that there is a bit of a colour scheme change over here. And you know what? We're going to be dealing with that in just a moment. Now, at the end of the last episode, and in fact, the last couple of episodes, we've actually managed to uncover quite a few alien nests. Now, I do want to give one last special shout out to, well, a lot of people actually who've been noting that we were very lucky at the beginning of this game, and we were very lucky. Our red giant started very close to our golden giant, the centipede, and they met and they devoured, or rather, the centipede devoured the other titan. That has changed the course of this game could have gone. That red giant could have started over here. Now, as I pointed out many times, the golden giants seem pretty content to just sit where they're at until they see food. By the way, they see you as food. It's a big thing, is what they eat, and that's either another titan or your city, either or. But if they don't see food, they'll just sit there. They have no particular urge to move from this spot. The red ones, though, they amble all over the place, and everywhere they go, and this is true of the golden ones as well, but because they're so sedentary, it isn't as impactful, but they will spread biomass. Every tile that has biomass on it is generating more biomass at a steady rate every turn, but if there is a nest on that tile, then the generated biomass is many times greater. Once the biomass reaches a certain threshold, it spawns a new red titan. Now, as you can see over here, we've got a gap of a fairly generous gap with no nest in it. There's a good chance that we could have something like that over here, but we're definitely not going to have gotten away with no nest being here. We could be ultra unlucky, and it could be more of a cluster like that in the middle here. Once that reaches a threshold, and I don't know what the threshold is, or if there's any way to check what the threshold is, or where the current biomass readings are, they will spawn red giants. Now, if we're stupendously lucky again, they'll all be next to the golden centipedes down here, and they'll just gobble them all up, and then we'll just be left with more sedentary giants. But we are on a countdown. Not only is the city taking damage, slowing, but it's still taking damage, but also eventually this is going to hatch more giants. Now, when that happens, hopefully we will be in a position where we can handle them, if not through the liberal application of nuclear weapons. But shy of that, then maybe we could just be off the planet. So again, just to reiterate, once we tackle this city, which we're going to be doing is hopefully the first mission of this episode, if it gives us the rocket parts somewhere over here, especially somewhere down here, we're just going to beeline straight for it. There's no reason for us to stay here any longer than we have to. We want the rocket parts, and then we can blast off from the Earth and go make Earth 2 somewhere else. But with all of that said and done, thank you very much once again for all of the comments. They are a joy, a pleasure to read through. But time for us to pass the first day. Now, we're going to get a motor and a new cabin. That's going to be very nice. And also the new parts for our reactors, which will be very, very nice because that will allow us to set up a new reactor for one of our energy weapon using mechs. Everything else should be in the right place. Yeah, we haven't got anything else we need to do. Double check the pilot. Nope, we're all good. Okay, next day it is. Alright then, so we have unlocked new research, we've got new gubbins, and unfortunately, yeah, last episode we did use a lot of metalite for repairs, but everything else more or less stayed where it needed to stay. Consumer goods wise, that's going down a little bit, but it's not far off 100%. I don't think it's going to be long before we can get that to balance out completely. Wounded humans, we actually got quite a few healed, and the overall efficiency of the city went up. Very, very happy with that. Right. First thing we are going to do is, of course, follow the checklist and do the upgrades. We already know what we're upgrading. We're going to upgrade the residential area. This is going to further improve our consumer goods, so let's just drop that in there. Now, tomorrow, we've already earmarked what we're going to do, and that is the upper factory. And finally, we will be producing things without an extra delay being added on top. But with all of that checked out, now then, we are under the storm. No more moving is possible whilst we're in here, and we probably don't want to run any missions in here either. That being said, there is a juicy mission down here, maybe. I mean, okay, well, let's have a look at the city. Right, it's got Sunspot, it has got launches or rockets. Not too interested in that one, but let's go and have a look at what we're dealing with. No, the Sagittarius shot bullets, the Floss shoots energy, the Millis. Okay, the average length of the specimen is 21 meters. Okay, so it's a fairly large creature then. Height 10 meters, width 8 meters. The average weight is 20 tons. Actually, maybe not that huge then. A thick teardrop-shaped body, tapering towards the end, is moved by 3 pairs of low legs. A large woolen cover is located at the front of the inner semicircle. It hides many small eyes. Nested on the woolen cover is a large segmented bag which sports a peculiar crown of long antennas pointing upwards. The bag contains incubators with large wasp-like creatures. Depending on the environment, gills or nasal openings are located on the sides. The end of the body consists of 10 thin rings. 2 pairs of legs are attached under a woolen cover in front, another pair between breathing apparatus and rings. Okay, it's very interesting. This is wool. Lifestyle not studied. The possibility of appearing depends on this special swarm, much like all special creatures. To attack, the Millis uses wasps that are born in its own incubator and guided by its large vibrating antennas. On contact with the target, the wasp explodes, spraying hot acid that can burn through thick armor. Millis prefer to stay at a distance and sometimes retreats to safety to spawn new wasps. Takes significantly less damage from explosive type weapons again. So the Flagella resistant to thermal, the Operaris resistant to energy, and the Millis resistant to explosive, even though it does explosive. Not a lot of health considering. But I think I would rather wait until tomorrow to tackle that one rather than do it today. We're not going for a volcano. Not a bad looking map. Only Ares and Operarius. I think we're going to tackle the wasteland. I don't feel like tackling the storm. If we don't need to, that just feels like we're pushing our luck. Okay, so got our brief on the mission that we're going to be doing. Time to set up the mechs for said mission. Now, I'm going to be rejigging the Shellcracker. We are going to be rejigging... Well, I could make a new reactor now for the marshmallow, but I think I'm going to hold off on that one. The marshmallow is balanced well for it. We're going to pull in the shepherd, and we're going to pull in Mr. Brown. And you might be wondering, why Mr. Brown? Well, we'll get to that in just a moment. But, oh, actually, first, also, need to do a little bit of something. All right, Firestorm, let's get you in here. Also, your name is no longer Firestorm. It is... Frostfire with a Y. There we go. We are going to check out the paint job. There we go. Got a bit of a fire frost effect going on. Change the legs a little bit just so it will work. Not too much of a change, though. I'm kind of happy with how all of that turned out, actually. There we go. No engineer cost for you. Just a quick rename and a lick of paint. Now, as for the Shellcracker, addressing a comment from... Oh, this is a difficult one for me to pronounce because I couldn't see any capitals to give me an idea of where I need to emphasize this. So please forgive me if I get this wrong. Powemelinowski, something like that. Hopefully I got that reasonably close to what it's meant to be. But Powemelinowski 4838 noticed that the Shellcracker's minimum engagement range was greater than the typical pushback range that the Lance's slowing weapons, because quite often the slowing rotary cannons have a decent amount of pushback on enemies, but it doesn't push them back far enough for the Shellcracker to engage. And as a consequence, the Shellcracker would quite often engage once as things were approaching, but then never again throughout the engagement that was going on. So we are going to tweak. They suggested tweaking the minimum range. Now, I'm okay to tweak it a little bit, but we're not going to tweak it too terribly much. We're going to have to pull this all the way back because previously it was fairly far out there. Let's maybe pop you... I'm not sure about having you too close. I think that is roughly where it was. Sorry, it was somewhere more out here. I think this is a little bit closer. I don't want it too much closer. Maybe we could scooch it just a tiny bit. Just a tiny bit closer. Maybe around there. I really wish this was a little bit easier to make a very small, accurate adjustment. We'll have it sit about there, but I still don't want it dealing with the Operarius, so we're going to push that one all the way back out. This should, I hope, be able to allow the Shellcracker to engage a little bit more often, but we still definitely don't want the Shellcracker firing when anyone is too close to it. So hopefully this will work. We are more or less where we need to be, so let's go ahead and deploy Shellcracker as is. Thank you very much. Now, as for Shepherd, we're actually going to be adjusting something with the Shepherd. Now, let's have a quick gander, actually, because a couple of people have mentioned that they think the various guns' firing ranges are maybe not quite where they need to be. So sure, let's have a quick glance at this. How are we doing with you? I mean, they're relatively okay. I don't want to make this a bullet soak, so having an accurate attack is fine. Maybe we could do with a little bit less armor penetration, but overall, I think maybe having the bullet stopping around here is fine for us. So if we just tuck that right behind, that's as good as we want it. Now, the thing with the rotary cannons, a couple of people have said, well, why don't we have the lasers as the slowing lasers instead of the rotary cannons? Because the penetration isn't really doing too much. Why am I even caring about penetration? Sure, at this range, it's not doing too much. And it's when a bullet impacts that it imparts the slowing effect. Likewise with lasers. It only really slows the thing it hits, because lasers have no penetration. But if we're, for example, dealing with Operarius, if we drop this down to Operarius levels, it's going through them. And it might go through the one behind it as well. Every time it passes through, it imparts the slow effect. So this could slow a whole swarm. In fact, it's probably best demonstrated with this. Right now, it's not getting through... actually, let's pop that down to Operarius level. We're potentially at this range slowing 3 different Operarius at the same time. At that range, probably only 2. At this range, yeah, still 2. Even right out to the end, we're still hitting 2. Now, if this was a laser, it would only ever hit the first one. only ever hitting that one. Now, granted, it's going to be firing very, very frequently, and it's quite an accurate weapon, well, compared to the rotary cannon, but still, I like the slowing rotary cannons because of the penetration. They're great on swarms, and even against something that they can't penetrate the armor on, doesn't matter, they'll still slow it down. Because it's all based on its overall... It's based on the bullet hitting it. So I think this is good, and also the laser's got a much shorter range anyway, so I think that is a fine weapon for us right now. But the reason why I brought the Shepherd in is I want to change up the cannon. Right now, the way that we've been engaging, the Shepherd rarely gets the opportunities to fire across an extreme distance. The whole idea with the rocket assist was to give it the damage and penetration that it would be able to engage targets at extreme ranges. But quite often I have the Shepherd focusing down nests. Nests don't even have armor, so penetration doesn't really matter. What nests do have, though, is an awful lot of health. If we have a look at that, 3,000 health. I've just been... In the cases even when the Shepherd had good line of sight and was engaging, it just took so long if the Shepherd was the only one doing the damage. Now, we can have a look at exactly how much damage we're doing. I'm going to slow you, just hold you right there. It really doesn't matter how much armor. We just want to see how much damage per shot is being imparted, and then we'll have a look at over 5 seconds how much damage is being done. So every 5 seconds... every shot is doing 51 damage. Over 5 seconds, we're doing about 200, 250-ish. We'll see where that sits, because it might not be exactly... Yeah, it's just hovering there. There are other options that we could have. At this sort of range, sure, the Shepherd might be engaging at a bit of a longer range, and it can definitely manage that. And I really wish this went out to the full range that we could be dealing with, but I'm thinking we could just tuck it in to about this distance here, and say, look, just go for things that you've got a reasonable chance of engaging. And ideally, that should be a nest. I think this would put it out to somewhere like here, and that's about as far away as we tend to engage. Maybe a little bit further. But let's have a look at our other options. We could go with acceleration. That would just, again, it's the same as rocket assist. This might be a good one, but it would slow it down so much. So I'm going to go away from that. Slow and fire. I mean, fire might not actually be a bad one. But the problem with fire is it will only cause the fire on the last thing it hits. If it penetrates through, it's not going to do that. Now, I realize that this might not be as... it might seem counterproductive to put shards on. But shards seem to maximize the damage so much. Now, if we did use fire and it got all the way down there, like, for example, if we pop this up, and it did, in fact, hit the oven, but it might go through it. But if it did drop the fire on the oven, it's going to melt the oven instantly, pretty much. But shards? Now, shards will explode the first thing they hit, but they do a lot of damage after that. Looking at this, we're doing in the realm of 1.5 thousand. So this is 10 seconds and it would be gone. Let's see what its actual damage is. So we're going to restrict the firing rate to 1 shot every 5 seconds just to get a proper read. And it's about 350 damage a shot. 400-ish. Depending on how the shards hit. And an ovum is a big target. Pretty much all of the shards are going to hit that one target. It strips away a lot of armor when it does it. Does an appreciable amount of damage. I mean, it's not stripping armor here because there's no armor to really pull away. But even going through Operaris, it would still kill a clump of Operaris. The Operaris behind the one it hit, and so on and so forth. I think we're going to switch this over, and we're going to have it on a fairly... a bit of a closer engagement range, I think should be fine. So that's going to be a change to the Shepherd's loadout that I've been kind of dwelling on for a little bit, but I think this should help out in the long run. Right, we need to pull in the power a little bit, so let's drain the power from those two. That's fine. We've actually got a little bit of extra weight capacity. We've got 3 extra weight capacity. Ooh. Do we have... Actually, I'm going to have to take the strike face off to check, but take that away as well. I want to see, do we have many... we do have enough of this to apply, but no, I need a bulk face. How much of this do we have? Only 1. But I could apply that, and this one, and then the highest tier strike phase we have, and that gives us a passive armor of 21. Actually, that is perfect, and in fact, it gives us exactly the amount that we wanted. Alright, I'm okay with this. And the Shepherd even has a drone, but you know what? We've got some new cabins. Let's change these cabins around. Now, if we wanted control to be the primary one, I don't think we do. Maybe, but I'm going to say that I want the highest safety cabin on the mech that is potentially going to be getting the most in danger, and Shepherd is primarily a long-distance mech, so it is the least likely of the mechs that we have to be in that dangerous place. We do have a nice safety there, but 50-50? Yeah, I think that's going to be the upgrade there. It does add a lot more weight, though. Ugh. Okay, so sadly, the change I just made to armor were a bit premature. I do apologize for that. Let's go ahead and pop on the lowest tier. Followed... Ooh, the strike face is going to be 6 by itself. We might be able to make this work. Yeah, we will be able to make it work. It's only giving us 18 passive armor and no coating now, which is a concern, but... Is there a way we can make this work a little bit better? There is, actually. We could swap out one of these. I could either give it more battery, so I could over-tune, volt the motors, or I could just give it a metal grid. Now, that does pull down the reload, but it actually gives us enough weight that I can pop back on at least one of the better bulk armors. There we go. Oh, actually, that's just 6. It's just shy of where we want it. So I'll have to go down to the lower version bulk armor, since that's a little bit better. There we go. Then we can add the best strike face, and then we can add a little bit of coating. You know what? That's not too bad, and it gives us 19 armor there. I think that's okay for us. It costs us 32 engineers to make that change up, but I think it's worth it ultimately. Go ahead, let's get you out there then, Shepherd. Thank you ever so much. And finally, the Mr. Brown. Now, you might be wondering, what are you going to be doing with Mr. Brown? What does Mr. Brown need? Well, first and foremost, Mr. Brown is going to be the lucky so-and-so that gets the highest safety cabin that we've got. Maybe I should put that on the dig rig, but I want to do some changes to Mr. Brown anyway. We're going to be dropping the rotary cannon. I really feel that we do need to branch out with the damage types that we're taking. And as much as I don't want another shell cracker missile, maybe a rocket pod would be okay for us. So let's pop this in there and see what we can do. Now, first and foremost, we're going to draw everything back. What is the role of this weapon? Is it to take out swarms? Honestly, rockets are better at taking out swarms than single targets. But at the same time, I can use this far more freely against a single high-priority target and let it engage swarms when it's not doing its primary job. And I quite like that idea. One of the things I could do is say that it's only allowed to engage Operarius if they're fairly close. At which point, you know, then it'll properly start going for them. Otherwise, keep its rockets ready for a higher priority target at long range. I think that it's going to be a little bit of a mixture, but ultimately what I'm bringing this here for is to get a little bit more actual damage being dealt to enemies at long distance, where maybe we don't really have the punch that we have normally, but I don't want to use the gigantic missile. Now, I could use crit. I'm going to do an appreciable amount of damage. Not very great armor penetration, though, if I can be honest. Even still, let's pump that all the way up. So armor penetration of 7 now is not too bad. Though, one thing to be aware of, again, if you have any issue with, like, you don't understand why something works. Previously, we observed that fire seems to have a cutoff at 10 armor. So I actually jumped back into the manual, read the manual. Of course, you read the manual, because I told you to do it at the very beginning. You totally took my advice, didn't you? But I was looking back through, because I was like, well, why is it that fire has this cutoff? There must be an explained reason. Yes, there is. Thermal damage, of which obviously fire is. The projectile quickly loses its damage and flight speed. That isn't a problem because we're leaving a fire pool at the point. There are fire weapons, but this one is literally just having a secondary fire effect. Damage is lowered by 10% per point of the target's armor, but always penetrates through it. Lowered damage and lifetime underwater, that makes sense. The 10% was the key. Obviously, if something has 10 points of armor, well, removing 10% 10 times means you've got 0 damage left over. Doesn't matter that it's going to penetrate through all of the armor. 0 still is 0. Now, this does answer the question of, is it 10% of the original armor value or 10% of what's left? Because if it was 10% of what was left, then it would stretch it out over a much greater range. But that is why the hard cutoff for fire damage is at 10. So right now, against the typical opponent, let's say a Brucus, which might be what we would target here, this does a very, very good amount of damage. It soaks up the damage. How much health does a Brucus have? I think it's a fair amount, isn't it? 1,400. Well, this fire would easily pop that. We can set this up and have that going. Alternatively, let's give shards a look in as well. If we had shards instead, appreciable damage in the 2,000s already, and actually it's stripping staggering amounts of armor. So how do we want to go with this? I mean, the fire pool is probably going to make it overall more useful against Operarius swarms, just because it's going to leave a dot on the ground. It doesn't last for over long. I would say if this had I think the missile is ironically one of the better ones for this, because it leaves such a large fire spray. But this isn't really here to deal with Operarius. It's just nice that it also can. So again, I think we're going to go with the shards, because if nothing else, this will help me strip armor off something much more dangerous, because right now we're really not stripping much armor. I mean, 16 armor is actually kind of impressive, but this is in the hundreds of armor per second. If we slow this down to 1 shot every 5 seconds so that we get a much more accurate idea of how much damage we do, let's have a watch of that. It's still 12 armor, 128 damage, but it just does that damage over an extremely short space of time before the next missile hits again, so it stacks very, very nicely. So with that, do I want to worry about this hitting rock faces nearby? Yeah, a little bit. I would rather them mostly coming out of the front of the mech rather than the back, but then we're going to put the rest into this. If I really didn't care about accuracy at all, we could probably just dump it all into this and see how crazy that is. I mean, now we're into bonkers armor stripping territory, and this would kill a Brucus within 5 seconds easily, and in fact a nest within 5 seconds. So I think this is going to be where we go, but I'm going to say, hey, don't engage Operarius unless they're close. Also, for everything, don't shoot if it's too close, like about that much. This is our cutoff point. I don't want you engaging in this because this could easily have mechs within it, and we could be doing damage to mechs. So this is a band where attacking Operarius is allowed, but everything else, just engage it at your max range, because you don't lose any penetration or damage across that distance. Okay, there we go. I think that weapon is going to be perfect for the Mr. Brown. Let's get you in here and get that weapon on board. There we are. We are switching out your weapon type, and now Mr. Brown and Mr. Pink are actually going to complement one another. They're going to be able to help each other out. I might change Mr. Pink over to a flame weapon. We will see. We'll have a think about that. But I do need to find a lot more weight capacity. Thankfully, we do in fact have some motors that can help us out with that. So let's go ahead and pop these on. In fact, we're going to need all of them. There you go. Never mind. So at this stage, we can even potentially add in some extra weight. Now, I would like to see what the strike faces we have are. We cannot get the top tier strike face. Okay. We are definitely starting to hurt for armor. And it is something I'm becoming extremely aware of. We can't even get the top tier bulk armor there. Pop that one in. We've now got 4 to play with. As the strike faces go, we need an extra 2. We can easily get that by dropping some coating. Oh, sorry, my bad. Never mind. We actually have spare coating. I was looking at the wrong thing. There we go. Alright, so passive armor of 19, not terrible. I think that's quite serviceable. Much better armor. Much better, well, a little bit better coating, but hopefully way better in terms of the damage output. Okay, we have tweaked our mechs. Okay, I have selected the pilot that we're going to be taking out with us. Primarily, or rather of special note, we've got Vanuloswen, and where are you? And Russell. Russell is just about to get a level up, which is going to be an important level, because I would very much like to take the drone skill with Russell, and if we're super lucky and get a lot of experience, maybe even Vanya will be able to join, or will be just right behind. Now, as for our target in this one, well, you know what? I think we're going to take the ovums off being primary targets, unless... Well, you know what? No. Since we're only going to be running one mission today, sure. Mini-Murgle, you're going to be having this one. But since I don't think, or at least I hope, that we're not going to be suffering with the extreme winds, we'll just have a tornado on the map, I'm not going to have you as a group commander. Instead, that is going to be someone else. Now, I want two Brucus targets. There we go, and there we go, and they are going to be Shellcracker and Mr. Brown, respectively. I want our rocket launchers to be doing that job. That being said, maybe having Shellcracker also help out with the nest wouldn't be a bad one, considering the nests are probably going to be at the greatest distance from us. You know what? I think that will work out. Now, as for our group leader, I want you focusing on the Ares with Frostfire. We are also going to want someone else helping out with that, and that's going to be Marshmallow, run by Bicklow, or piloted by Bicklow. Finally, Mr. Pink with Vanuloswen and Digrig. We're going to take Digrig out, but I'm going to aim to keep everyone together. Just because I'm only intending to run one mission, I'm going to take as many people out on this mission this time as we possibly can. But with all of that said and done, we've got a reasonable amount that we're going to need to get back for this. We've got 250 Bjorn, or 251 specifically, and 171 Stalagmit that we're going to need to bring in to be able to break even. Though I should imagine we should be okay. I certainly hope we will be, at the very least. Right then, let's get everything going. We're going to switch over to a nicer camera mode. I like this one because I can see the root systems on the ground, and that gives us a very, very good visual clue on where the nests are. 1, 2, 3 there. We've got a Brucus 4. Where's the fifth? Fifth down here. Okay, well, that's not great. I think we want to clean out these nests first, then strike across here. That is worrying. We're not going to go through that. Too much chance that the Shellcracker will get involved with that. Right, okay. Well, first thing I'm going to want you to do is just make your way up here. And from there, you should have sight on this. You might even do some other damage as well. Oh, you're already going for that Brucus. That's not great. I hope you haven't done too much damage to it. It looks like you are actually doing quite a lot of damage to it. The rockets are taking out the rock face there. Why are you not moving? Why are you not on the way? Okay, fair enough. You took a long time to respond to that. Interesting. You were engaging targets, I assume. Now, what we really don't want to do is get too close to this. To get a bead on this nest will be a bit more tricky. I'm going to move forward. I'm going to inch forward. Actually, we're going to move down in this direction. We'll get a better sight line there, and I wouldn't mind if some of the rockets took out the rock faces around here. That would actually be very nice shot there from Shellcracker, but let's not get too... That's a little bit too close, actually. That is a little bit too close. Move forward. Move forward. I don't trust Shellcracker in that location. Okay, that's gone. That's good. That is a bit safer for us. Let's scooch forward a little bit more. Now, the problem with the Lance at present is that they're so clustered together that there's always a chance that one of them can't shoot because they can't get a good sight line going. The two Brucus are still active. This one is probably going to pop before too long, I should imagine. Let's scooch forward. Ideally, we want to take that Brucus before it does too much more. The rockets are actually taking out the rocks around here as well, which is actually kind of nice. Very nice, in fact. We are going to need to get... Right, okay, it has decided that it is under too much threat, and we now need to get down here and try and remove it. as a much higher priority, otherwise we are going to lose the opportunity to do so. Hopefully rockets should be able to engage from this far. Let's hope. Yes, there we go. Got it in time. It took us a little bit, but we did manage to do it. Okay, we should be able to take this out, or the Shellcracker should be able to do so. There we go. Well done there, Shellcracker. Given that, then, we are going to scooch back up and take this out. But you notice that we're having to be very... Ooh, okay, I can't change the order. That is unfortunate. Get down here as quickly as you can. Just move, 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 move. Drag your friends if you have to, because that was a very unfortunate location for a tornado to show up. Scooch over there, please. Don't leave Firestorm behind. Okay, they've left Firestorm behind, so we're going to need to have them regroup on Firestorm. Try and move. Don't get too close to these walls. Oh, you are in super danger. You are very much in danger close territory. Move, 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 move now. Do not wait. Oh, my lord. Alright, you know what? I kind of feel that Shellcracker popping those tornadoes is sometimes not a good thing. Initially I thought it was good, but when they pop, they respawn. And when they respawn, I no longer have as much control over dodging them, because I'm moving around mindful of their current position, but then suddenly they just appear from one side of the map I wasn't expecting, and that wasn't exactly what I wanted. Now then, have we removed everything from over there? Yes, we have. Okay, well, we should see some rockets heading down this way then. I should imagine that Mr. Brown will launch rockets in this direction, or did I... Oh, no, actually, I told Mr. Brown specifically not to engage Operarius from long range. Maybe I should actually remove that. Maybe it's an unnecessary one. Still, I wouldn't mind seeing some rockets heading down here to deal with these Operarius and indeed the Ares, as each one... There we go, that's what we wanted. Each one comes with the chance that it might pop a wall that we could then move through. Now I'm going to wait for this to move past, and then we're going to approach. As once we approach, we are going to be shutting down the Columbra with slow shells. So I don't want this between us and them when that happens. Now the problem with the Ares is we won't really engage the Ares with our energy weapons until it's outside of the shield. Now that being said, maybe we do, actually. Maybe we do. Never mind. It does look like that might be happening. Can we finish this off before it spins all the way back around? Yes, we can. Okay. Now then, we're just going to need to get into a bit of position over here. Never mind. It's gone. All right. Fantastic work. That actually went brilliantly. I don't think we need to be aware of anything else on the map, though. There's something apparently down here. Not sure what it was, but that went... Did I say it perfectly? Did we take any damage whatsoever? You know, I don't think we did. Phoenix, you were disobeying orders for some of the time, but that's not terrible. Yeah, your average temperature was below half, which is okay. Now, what I would like to see is Mr. Brown's average temperature. Over half. I can live with that. In the 60s. Most of them are hovering around the 50, just below or just over. I think I can live with the low 60% being the average temperature of the reactor. Alright, that was actually fairly solid. And looking at our return, yes, we did cover the cost. Only a little bit of a reward, but since we didn't have to pay anything for it, and we definitely got some good experience out of that, I'm actually really happy with that. Encrypt, heading towards level 6. Okay, find your lost one is going to need one more mission before they're able to grab the next skill point, but that's okay. Now, let's have a look for you. There we are, Russell. Now, what we want, can repair allied mechs with a drone. The drone is in use at all times, requires a drone module. That is fine. We will ensure that you're in a mech that has a drone from now on. That is absolutely perfect. Right, let's have a quick look. In terms of vitality, vitality and stress on Ravian, kind of need them both pulled up. Probably going to say exactly the same for Soundstream. Next up, we want to check on reaction times. Ooh, Clone 2. Okay. You are super low. So yeah, you're going to be getting the training. You'll get a name in the near future, I should hope. Okay, that wasn't actually too bad. Right, so with all of that done, time for us to check in on research. We've got 80 scientists available. Now, we could pop 50 into this to get the depth charge. I don't think we're going to need it, but I think at this point the anti-missile system is kind of staring us straight in the face. Small caliber turret for destroying enemy missiles, formerly used to protect the station from asteroids. It is now... We've now seen a regular enemy that makes this important, so we're going to grab that one, sure. Let's pop the scientists into that. We've still got 30, so there's going to be something around here that can be done for maybe 25 or something around there. Is there... Are we sure there is one? We are. That's definitely not it. 50... I'm looking at the right thing, aren't I? 50 there... Oh, 30, okay. Reactor overcharge. A complex device that takes place near the coolant system and increases energy output at the cost of reactor restart time. Restart time. Okay, so I'm gonna just reading through the we haven't. Well, we might have actually once or twice. I don't recall, but we certainly haven't had overheating be a big issue for us. I don't think we've had many instances, if any, where the reactors are fully shut down and had to reboot. So this would just sound like free energy. I am 100% okay with that. Let's go ahead and get that one set up. Now, we've got a little bit for production. Now, 1 day on this, and that is fine. I am strongly desiring getting some more components at this point, because we're kind of behind on that one a little bit. So I'm going to pop this in. It's going to take us 4 days. I know that sucks. Thing is, if we wait until tomorrow, we'll actually get it faster. We will actually get it faster if we just wait 1 more day. Alright, we're going to waste the fact that we have these engineers in favor of getting all of that set up tomorrow. I think that makes more sense. Because tomorrow, of course, we're going to be upgrading the factory, and that is going to move everything forward a little bit. Okay, well, that's all we need to do then. In terms of the strategic movement, we can't move, so there's no point in worrying about that. That's already seeing 1. That's seeing 1. That's now seeing 2. This is seeing 3. That's seeing 3. So that's not really giving us any new information to play with. But at the very least, it means that there's no nest here. So that one tile is clear of any suspicion. Right, time for us to pass the next day then, where we will get a new motor and finally atomic weapons. Okay, atomics researched, motor complete. We got 39.7 people out of the hospitals. Consumer goods are increasing, food supply is decreasing, and yeah, again, we didn't get by with much, but we did get out of it with something. Overall efficiency did drop though, which is a bit of a shame. Right then, at long last, time for us to finally complete this. Pomp. There we are. Okay, we're up over 80% city damage though, and that is a concern. From this point forward, I'm going to say that for a little while, we have to be looking at life support systems. Now, the communications system will actually help with that, and it's something I desperately want to improve. But to improve it, I need to fix the mech bay. I mean, I want to do that, but that in and of itself isn't going to help anything. Can this upgrade to anything? Cold storage would be what we'd need to upgrade that, so no. Okay, well, let's have a look here. Medical compartment, yes. No, that one would be great. Actually, that would increase both components and wounded humans and life support system quite considerably. I think we're going to max out the medical compartment 1. I believe there's another one as well, medical compartment 2. I'm thinking we spend the next 5 days fully repairing these 2. And then following that, we'll get the mech bay fixed and then the communication center. I desperately want to be able to give orders a little bit more frequently. Okay, well, that is the upgrade sorted, so let's go ahead and check on the mission brief. Now, we might still be able to do this, and we indeed can. Okay, fantastic. Also, atoms. Right. Well, this is going to open up some options for us. We now have the choice of dropping nukes. We've got 2 nukes ready, and 7, I believe, when it comes to atomics. Actually, let's go through this. Does that actually mention it? Research. Does it say anything in here? It says something. Also the map. Capture cells. Launch of the nuclear missile is at the end of the day after the movement of giants. Okay. But what is it about the atomics? I'm fairly certain that it generates atomics much like it generates artillery shells. But then we need to turn that into a missile. I think we... Let me have a... Yes, it is. We need to make a missile, and that will take 2 days for it to be built for us. And we require the ingredients to make it. So I think the city is generating the rockets, and we turn that into a nuclear missile. It takes us 2 days. We'll have to keep a very close eye on this and see how frequently that actually ticks up. But that does give us some options now to start clearing nests so that we have access. Either way, we know exactly where we're going to be going today. Okay, of special note here, we have 8 nests and 3 Brucus. Shepard is going to be targeting a nest as usual, but we're not going to target the Brucus at all for this mission. The mission rewards are going to be whatever we get from the city and the information. So Marshmallow, Frostfire, and Mr. Brown are all targeting Brucus. This is not a mission for Shellcracker. There is no way we can deploy Shellcracker in this place. Mr. Brown, I even considered not bringing, but I think we might be able to do it. Mr. Pink and Digrig are going to only be focusing on the Operarius. This should be okay. This is actually a fairly cool map, so I very much don't expect any big issues, and it's not a map that's windy in any way because of the city's presence. So we're going to get out there now and see what we can do. Once again, the first thing we're going to want to do is switch over to the map. We're in a decent enough area. Oh my lord. Okay, so that's a lot of the nests. 1, 2, 3 down there. Actually, I'm going to say it. This is actually probably one of the best ways that this could have happened for us. Right, get up there. Move slowly enough. Just engage as much as you can. That's one popped. As long as we are aggressive, we will be able to pop these nests before they pose any real threat to us. There they go. They're already gone. That has taken out an enormous part of the problem here. Now, the Brucus are going to be a tricky one. They are going to be a tricky one. I could activate this turret, but honestly, I don't think that's the route that I want to go. I think I want to go this route. I wish deeply that I could give more orders than we can give here, but we're just going to have to live with it as it is. Now this Brucus is going to be popping out around here, so if we can get over there in time, we should be able to eliminate it, especially if one of the lasers gets there. They did. Fantastic work. They're going to be back through the wall before too long. Let's just march down there for now. We'll do our best. Time is passing quickly enough. We need to get over here, I think, because this is going to be a tricky location, especially with Ares coming up. Oh, goodness. I completely forgot about the burrowing ability of the Columbra itself. Let's get out of its range. Have we taken out both of the Brucus already? No, the other Brucus is scarpering in this direction. Okay. I just don't think there's anything for it. I think we need to advance. There are Ares all over the way. We're just going to have to hope that the prioritization this group has is going to be enough to deal with them fast enough that they stop being an issue. Get down there, take out the Columbra as quickly as you can as you go. Wipe out the nests. This was an extremely aggressive push, but I think we've done it. I think we've done it with almost no issues. I don't think we even took damage despite the push. I am shocked at how well that went. Not that I had any doubt in our fine commanders, but my lord. Okay, I like it. I like it a lot. Russell, do we get any information on healing you did, I wonder? Ammo, number of attacks, no, nothing. Okay, well, that was actually pretty amazing, and Commander's going to get a new medal for that one. That was, as far as I can tell, a flawless victory. We got a decent amount of new stuff. I wish this would show me the items we get, but it doesn't. We got a lot of materials. We came out quids in on that one. That was actually pretty solid. Mission success. And it looks like we can just leave. Okay, I kind of wasn't prepared for that. However, looking at the positioning of things, I think the way to leave is to go through Africa. We might even pop these anyway, and then sweep up through South America to the equatorial region and win that way. And at that point, whatever's going on over here can just happily go on over there, and we don't care about it. All right, that was pretty much as good of a run as we could possibly have hoped for. I think taking out these reinforced lances, I mean, who would have thunk it? Having more firepower at my disposal generally makes completing missions easier. Right, Vanya Loswin, you're also going to be getting drone command. Can repair allied mechs with a drone. There you go. Fantastic. So we've got 2 people who will generally tank, and 2 people who are relatively good at using drones, and one of the commanders who can encourage that, and the other commander can encourage moving faster. I think we are definitely moving towards a location, especially with the number of drones we've got, that we're going to be able to fully field 2 8-person lances each turn. That would be absolutely marvelous for us. But let's have a quick look. Who's got the lowest vitality? Vitality and stress reduction. Encrypt. Stop discoing encrypt. There you go. Thank you very much. Got pop in there. Vitality on Bicklow is still fairly low. No, Bicklow, I really want you to get your CPS up, if I'm honest. I will take Vanya Loss when you can pop in the hospital for now. Alright then, so research-wise, we just got a bunch of people back from the atomics, and on from this. Okay, so we need 100 staff in 6 days, and this will give us probably one of the things that is going to change the game. We've all seen it. We are desperate for more power on our mechs. Nuclear reactors. 5th generation compact reactor with better protection systems. Not as efficient as a large plant, but far superior to the old ICE assembly. What are we currently researching that we don't need? Or we don't need soon? Everything is actually fairly close, isn't it? I'm going to say we don't need this one, so we're going to disable that one for now. It's had 1 day. We're going to pop those. Oh, that still isn't enough, actually. Okay, we're taking this one off as well, then. We'll get you over here. There we are. Let's get that on the go, and as soon as one of the others finishes, we will aim them at probably Tesla first. I imagine get that one finished. But this is huge. This is way too big, way too important. We cannot we cannot sleep on that one. That being said, actually no, we can keep this one going. May as well have the scientists doing something rather than not. It isn't enough to put them back on Tesla. All right, well that's pretty amazing. Right, next up then is production. Now at this stage, we've got 323 engineers. It would require 265 of them to build a plate in 5 days. I don't think we can say no. It's going to take a lot of resources. 600 Metalite, 248 Bjorn, 480 Munilon, 372 Stalagmite, and 265 engineers. But we're going to do it. There we go. Plate is in production. At this stage, I would also like... damn it, we're just shy. I'm being punished. Oh well. I would like to get a laser done, but that's also going to take 5 days. That's a little bit too much for me right now. It is. So instead, I think we're going to... I can't get those either. Can I get any of... Yeah, I can. How many days? 3, 4, 3... Alternatively, I can get the motors in 1 day. I could start relatively aggressively upgrading the carrying capacity of our mechs. And I'm alright with that. This will be done by tomorrow. So I'm okay with propping that through. Sure. At this point, those motors are... they're just free. If I have spare units, spare engineers, I may as well pop them on. Assuming we're actually using them. We got, I think another reactor. I think that's the main thing that we're getting. Oh, and a spread of some armor as well, which isn't too bad. All right, so the final thing that we do, and it's now going to start being more interesting. Strategic choices. Given what we now know, next turn, the storm is going to be off us and we can start moving around. This tile is in our way. That tile is in our way. Don't like them being in our way. So I am going to say that we are going to launch a nuke at this nest right here. There we go. That is locked in, and you're going to have to find out what that means for that nest in the next episode, because that is all the time that we've got for today. Tomorrow we're going to get some new motors. We're also going to find out whether that nest is still there or not. Day after, we're going to get some more armor available and some more research. So we should be able to start back up the Tesla research, which I would be very, very happy with. And we've got plenty of new plans for upgrading the city. This was a fairly important turn, I think. For research, this was a huge one. And very soon, only 6 days away, we are going to be getting a reactor. We might start passing a few more days per episode now. There aren't as many things to do with the mechs. Like, there's not as much tuning required. But, yeah, we've got a solid plan of action. And hopefully you're going to be joining me to see if we can transition that plan from just a plan into reality. But that is going to be it from me and from our mechs, and of course from our expanding roster of pilots. Going to have to pick out some new names very soon for those clones. To take care, engineers.